Internet. Welcome to another video of the Traveling Knitter. That's me. I will most likely not be doing any traveling in this video. This is going to be a read and watch. I'm not sure what I'm gonna call these. I need to come up with a good name. But the plan is I will be reading Between Shades of Grey by Rita Sepetys and watching the movie adaptation, which is called Ashes and Snow, something to that effect. The name change is, I am like 99% sure it is because of the title and how it is too similar to Shades of Grey, which is a very different book and very different movie with a very different audience. This one is about Lena. It is set in 1941 Lithuania, so it's World War II. And Lena, her mother, and her brother are arrested by the Soviet secret police, and they are sent to Siberia. And I'm pretty sure it's those those camps, which I am now forgetting what their names are, but I've mentioned this book before. I've given the synopsis before. I have been wanting to read this for so long, and I'm actually really excited to get to this. The movie is available on a streaming platform. I looked it up, but I'll have that information once I get to that portion. But this book is okay, so there's an excerpt of another book in here. Then there is a interview with an author, discussion questions, acknowledgements, letter from the author. There are 338 pages in it. It is fairly lots of chapters, so I know this is going to be a fairly quick read, which is exactly what I need. If you watched my May wrap up and June TBR, you'll know that I did not really read much of anything in May, and so I'm going to be working to improve June's numbers. With that, I need to get back to work because I just took like a little mini break, but I will be reading this throughout the week. Outfit of the day. It is, I think it's 94 degrees, but it's supposed to feel like 105. So I decided to change out of the t-shirt I was wearing because I need to go get my hair done. So I'll be able to read. And I looked it up. That it is 35 degrees Celsius and feels like 40 and a half. Okay, I know I look very different from my clip earlier, but I got the Stranger Things lip gloss from MAC and I just wanted to try it. So if you're curious, it is Skull Rock. I got the black one and then I got the acid green yellow one, so waiting for that one to arrive. But anyway, this book starts off with a bang. Like literally a bang. Our main character, Lena, and her mom and her brother are at home. It's nighttime, and the KVD, secret Soviet police, basically raid their house and shove them in a truck and with a couple other people and take them to a train station and put them in cattle cars and ship them off. Very reminiscent of the deportation of Jewish people. So if I hadn't like read more about what this was and the fact that it was the Soviet Union or Soviet soldiers doing it, you could very well think that her family is Jewish and that they are going to a concentration camp. But they are not. They're still traveling. The book has a kind of calendar of events with a map. So you've got a map and then a little calendar of where we are. So right now where I'm at in the book, I'm pretty sure I'm in between day 6 and day 21. So they have entered Russia. They think they're going to Siberia. That's what they've been told. And they've been told by, so there are other cattle cars that they're connected to, and they've been separated, kind of women, children, and old men are together, and then all men are separated. And so our main character, along with this other boy that's in her cart, go off to try and find their fathers, which is very dangerous because they're not allowed to leave the carts. They could be shot and killed, but they managed to find, so they're going to these other carts, they managed to find Lena's dad, and her dad tells them that they're most likely being shipped to Siberia. So that's kind of where we're at. Lena is 15 years old. She's about to turn 16. She is an artist. She was supposed to be going to the capital of Lithuania for like this gifted arts program. Throughout what you're reading, Lena is like, she'll see something and it triggers a flashback to like life before. And so that's what you get, a lot of snippets of Lena's life, her brother's life, her mom and dad's lives, and how she's realizing that her parents were, you know, part of a resistance, and that these things that she thought as just, you know, life meant something. There were secrets and all this stuff. So you kind of get flashbacks of her realizing, okay, that's what this was, that's what this was, and that it really was pretty dangerous. So I'm not super far. I am on page 72 out of like 330, 340. So almost a third of the way. This is not going to take me long at all. So my goal for tonight is probably to get to like maybe 110. Let's see what that puts me at. Perfect. So 109 is like the start of a chapter. So probably around there. And yeah, I'll do another check-in once I get some more reading. Most likely tomorrow though, because it is 8:30. And I would like to eat some food. Oh boy, it's hot. So yesterday at like right at 2 o'clock, we had like a power surge, and the AC tower of my very old building for the United States, it's over 100 years old, it died. And so the noise you hear is just the fan. It's 78 degrees inside my apartment. It was awful last night because I normally sleep with it like set at 64. So yeah, I'm going into the office because I can't work in here. So that's what I'm doing. No further updates really on the book because it's just been too miserable to read. I thought I'd give an update on Between Shades of Grey by Rita Septes before I went outside. I'm gonna go to the river and read outside in a heat wave. I think it is officially 91 degrees. It feels like 105, but I love the heat and I'm only gonna be out for a little bit, so that's the plan. But I am on section 2, which is Maps and Snakes. The first one was called Criminals and Robbers, Thieves and Prostitutes. And so the first section is Lena and her mom and her brother are basically in a cattle car, and they are traveling to, they're not quite sure, but they think Serbia. And right now they have finally arrived. I don't know if it's their final destination or if it's just like a checkpoint or whatever, but they were brought into, and they give you a name for it, a kolkhoz, which is a collective farm. And so we are told that Lena is now to be a beet farmer because under communist Russia or the Soviet Union, you are designated what you are going to plant as a farmer. And so now they're basically in this farm, and they, like, there's already someone living there, so I guess they're just dumped into it. Quite a lot of confusion. They have not found their father since seeing him on the train. So I'm not sure if they're going to meet up again, but that's where I'm at so far. So it's like a third of the way through. So I would love to get the rest or get another section done. Don't know if that'll happen because I need to be back for my Orange Theory class, but we'll see how far I get through on my reading expedition outside. In the parking lot of Barnes & Noble because I am going to one of my friend's baby's birthday party. The baby is turning 1, and if you're going to invite me to a birthday party, your child's going to get a book from me and a knitted item, which I actually have with me. It's in my You're Like Really Pretty bag, and I am making a hat using the leftovers of the DK sock that I made. Okay, it's getting really hot in here. We are still in a heat wave. It is 86 degrees, so it's cooler than it has been, but I think it still like feels like 95 or something. But I wanted to really quick talk about Between Shades of Grey before I go in. I am just about halfway done with it. I'm really liking this. And so Lena and her mother and her brother, they're in this like collective farm, and basically they are being forced to work these farms. And it's very reminiscent of concentration camps. Like, it feels like a concentration camp, except they're getting paid. But the thing is, it's almost like serfdom. They're being paid in almost nothing, and they're forced to do it. They can't leave. So yeah, okay, I'm like fully sweating. Can you see that? It is, I just have to open the door. And now everyone will be able to hear me, but it is so hot. So it's really good, and also just so upsetting. I will also link a podcast because so there's quite a lot of podcasts I listen to, and I just so happened to listen to an episode that is essentially about this exact thing, but with Ukraine. So the Soviet Union was essentially kind of doing exactly like what the Nazis were doing, and removing people from lands that they deemed theirs and not the other countries, and moving them to a remote location and forcing them to work and basically killing them. And it was kind of like with a lot of things that are with the Soviet Union and Russia, it's like hush hush. And I think it was like in 89 or 90, someone just walked past the car, that it was like declared its own genocide. So very interesting. So I'll link that below for you. Back in the car. This time I have AC on. I'll turn it down a little so that it's not super awful. But I thought I would just show you what I bought from Barnes & Noble. So first up, the reason why I went was to buy a book for a 1-year-old, and I got this one, Rainbow Rob. It's adorable. It's about a penguin who meets other animals that are different colors, and you kind of go through the rainbow, and you can also touch the animals. So like a little penguin, he's fluffy. There is a whale, you can like move his tail. The piggy is soft, so she can learn animals and colors, and she can touch it. So I went with that book. And then of course I had to buy stuff for myself because, you know, I have been on the hunt for this book. This is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lin. And I don't know why, but it's been sold out in all of the bookstores that I've gone to. I've gone to a couple different Barnes & Nobles, and then I went to my local bookstores, and then I even checked the 2 bookstores that we went to in New York City. All of them had this book sold out. So I saw it, I'm like, finally, I'll just buy it. I then saw, or I also purchased, the Emily Dickinson note cards and envelopes. I love stationery. I love stationery so much. So if you want to be my pen pal, let me know. I used to have a pen pal. She was in Canada, but I moved, and then I think she moved at the same time, and we just did not get our addresses. So that was kind of a bummer. But this is just a note card set with some quotes by Emily Dickinson. So we turn not older with years, but newer every day, which was Emily Dickinson in a letter to Louise Norcross. So it's just, yeah, I think it's like letters that she's written to people, as well as quotes from her poems. So love that. And then I bought a gift for one of my best friends. So if you are one of my best friends, don't watch. Stop watching right now. But it is this Green Vibes Only, and it's a guided journal for growing, nurturing, and enjoying houseplants. So my friends and I were really into houseplants, and I just thought it was really cute. It's got like what's, you know, you can just kind of write some things about why you like plants, and you can make your own mood board. Then there is a section about like facts on plants and like what they mean, and here's one for like common pests and what they are. Then there is the plant profile, which is probably my favorite section, and you can like write all about your, I'm showing it to you and you probably can't see any of it. You can write all about your plant, how often you water it, what kind of sunlight it needs, food. You can take a little picture or draw a picture of your plant. So I think that's adorable. There is a section for monthly observations that things that you see with your plants. And then there is a water tracker. So I don't know, I just thought it was really cute, and you know, something you would probably never buy for yourself, but would make for a really good gift. And I bought another journal, which is just horrible because I'm really trying to cut back on the journal purchasing. I have been writing in a journal since I was 9 or 11. I think it's 9.
So I have been writing a journal for 2/3 of my life, and I love writing journals. I love having journals, and I do fill them up. And I saw this Harry Potter edition, so it's like the original artwork from the second book in a journal, and it has sprayed edges, and I love it, so I bought it. And that is that. That whole haul cost me over $80, but you know what? I love every single thing, and I hope the 2 birthday recipients like their gifts as well. I have just finished Between Shades of Grey by Rita Sepetys, and this is a really sad book. It's about a history that I feel like the average person has no idea really happened, or that it was that extreme. So there's some information at the back of the book. There is kind of like, there's an interview with the author, then there is some historical information about the Soviet Union occupying the Baltic states of Lithuania, pretty sure that's Latvia. Okay, it looked like it said Latvia and Estonia, and how that was in 1939, so basically the beginning of World War II. And the deportation started in 49, and in 1991 is when those 3 countries became countries again. So they, what would be the phrase for that? When you regain your independence from being occupied, is that repatriate? No, that's when a person is. They regained their independence, I guess, in 1991. And prior to that, you couldn't talk about this deportation without fear of being jailed, maybe killed. And so, I don't know, it's very sad and crazy that things like this just happen so often, and it just repeats itself over and over and over. I mean, in a sense, you're kind of seeing that with Ukraine right now, right? Like, I mean, they're not being deported, they're just being forcibly removed from their homes, or they have to. So
it's sad. It was a sad book. As to audience wise, I mean, it's a YA novel. There's some slight references to sexual assault and rape, but it's not it's not graphic at all, and it's very like a couple sentences here and there. It does happen, but not to any of our main characters, and there isn't like it's not constantly in your face. So with that said, I mean, I think I would have had no issues reading this as a middle schooler. Me personally, I don't think I would have had a problem. Honestly, probably even younger. And if I'd read it younger, the reference to that probably would have just kind of gone over my head. I would have just thought that she, like, the mom was just having to, like, cook and stuff. And that she was upset that she got hit. And then there was like a line about like, have they gotten in between your legs? And I don't think I would have picked up on that and really understood what that meant and just like kept reading. So with that said, I think it's a relatively clean novel to read as a young adult. Like, me personally, I would have no issues reading this at the age of like 10 or 11. But I know it is geared towards YA, but as an adult, I enjoyed it. There also is, the author references a few books that she used. So I'm interested to look into those books. So that was Shades of Grey. I'm probably going to give this a 4-star. I truly did really like it. And this is actually her debut novel. I have read her most recent novel, which I loved. Kind of still think about that book. And I have 2 other books. I think I might actually own all of her books. So the other 2 are Out of Easy and then Salt to the Sea. I think I'm going to read Salt to the Sea next out of her books. But before I do that, I actually have the movie on my TV right now. So the movie is called Ashes and Snow. I think I've mentioned it before that they did change the name. And really it's just because Shades of Grey, this movie came out in 2018. You have 50 Shades of Grey. They are very different movies, very different books, geared towards very different audiences. And so I believe that is why we had a name change. So it looks like I can watch it for free with ads though, which is a little annoying. Does anyone else like really dislike the Amazon Prime movie, video, TV show thing? It's like, it'll say it's on Amazon Prime, but then you go and it's like, no, it's not free. You have to pay some money to watch it. It's like, I'm already paying for this service and yet I still have to watch it with ads. Stupid. So anyway, we're gonna watch the movie and see what I think. It does quite a lot of star ratings, although the IMDb rating is pretty low. I don't care about ratings, to be honest. I like to form my own opinions. So here we go. Get my remote and play. So I'm maybe 15 minutes in and I already have a 2-minute commercial break. So this is going to be fantastic to watch. Right off the bat, a big difference that I noticed is that Elena, who is the mother character, she has this like weird thing, like she doesn't seem as supportive about Lena and her art. So Lena is like very gifted in her art, and she really likes, I think it's Munch, who draws some kind of creepy, I think he's the illustrator of The Scream, right? The woman on the bridge, the blues, and I'll put a picture. If I'll put a picture and then I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, and that's a different artist. But she like brings up that Alina has no friends, and we don't really hear about other friends in the books, but it's like a moot point. It doesn't really matter so far. It's pretty similar, and it's already sad. And her brother looks so little, and you kind of forget when you're reading that he's only 11. He definitely looks 11 in this movie. Another major difference is the character of Kretsky. So he is one of the KNVD, I think that's the acronym, NKVD. And in the book, he's like named, and there are some things that happen, and he's in there to be a like sympathetic character, but he's not very sympathetic. He is much more sympathetic in the movie, and I can't say that I like that. Like, you get a backstory for him, which you sort of get a backstory in like the third to the last chapter, and it's like 3 sentences of like a couple words each, and then at the very end there's a thing that happens, and you're supposed to like think about how you shared kindness to this whole person who is helping a country do bad things to you, and how you share kindness with that person, and maybe they'll share kindness back and maybe save your life. And already the movie is showing him doing a lot of like little deeds to help, which he does not do in the book. He does barely anything in the book. So yeah, don't know how I feel about that. Well, I do know. I don't love that. To end the video, I figured I would just give my final thoughts on the movie. I finished it last night, and I decided I would just think about it and kind of bring my thoughts together. So the movie's different from the book, and if I had not read the book, I would have liked the movie more. That isn't to say that I disliked the movie. The major differences between the book and the movie, and there's always going to be differences, right? Like, this book, even though it is kind of short, you know, it's only 300 and doesn't even hit 350 pages, and it's YA, there's large margins. You're always going to be able to fit more into a book than a movie. We all know that. I think that's why there's been such a big push of turning books into TV shows. You've just got more space, more time, but still you're never going to have as much space and time as you do in a book. And a very common thing is to remove characters. It's to combine characters together. So the movie will only have one character, but really they're there in place of, 3 characters in the book. We definitely saw that in the movie, and in that Andres's mother didn't exist in the movie. A lot of the grumpy old man didn't exist, and I felt like he was like an annoying but important person in the book. So it's kind of interesting that they removed his character. But I think they kind of combined all the adult male figures into one person, because he wasn't winding his clock or anything, and he really didn't have much of a role. The biggest change really is the amount of screen time that the KNVD named Nikolai, or Kretsky, the amount of screen time that he got. And if you had not read the book, I think you wouldn't have really thought anything of it, and you might have appreciated Kretsky's story arc. But in the book, it made more sense to me, and in the movie it was just so much more dramatic, and he was so much more conflicted about everything. Also, the book has like sexual aggression. The movie has way more. So just to put that out, it was also, I felt more gory. There was so many people are murdered by starving them and all of that, and you know, them being out in the tundra, dying from dysentery or frostbite or scurvy. That so much doesn't quite happen. There's bits and pieces of it, but you know, we have to truncate a lot of this time, so you don't really feel how long they are spending in this cold. But there is quite a lot of on-screen murder or executions. So just to put that out there, I actually double-checked that this was a PG-13 movie, which it is. And I don't know at what level it becomes R when it's gore. So, well, and not even gore, but just like murder and death. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. My thought here, so the very first rated R movie that I ever watched was The Thin Red Line, and I don't know if it's I think it's a World War II movie, but what was super interesting about, so it was, you know, it's war, there's a lot of death. I remember, you know, people getting shot, and at the very end, you as the main character, you die. And it was just interesting, and you know, rated R. This movie has so much death, and so much of it is someone shooting somebody, and it was PG-13. But then on the flip side, I kind of think about, you know, there were kids that deal with this, and so for them, like, they're not 13, but they're seeing it, you know. So all in all, I really enjoyed the book. I gave it 4 stars. If I hadn't read the book, I would have appreciated the movie more, but I still enjoyed watching the movie. I wouldn't recommend watching it on Amazon. The commercials really took you out of the movie, because the movie, there isn't that much dialogue. Like, there's dialogue. It's not like Sleeping Beauty, but there isn't that much dialogue. It's a lot of there's a lot of music, and I was even trying to see if I could find the like playlist or the soundtrack on Spotify. Wasn't seeing it, so I'm not sure if it's just like, you know, classical music that I could just look up on my own. There is a Lithuanian artist, like musician, and she sings the ending credit song, which was very pretty. It's a cover of another song, but I then looked her up on Spotify, and she's got quite a lot of music, so I was listening to her music, and I love that when that comes out of, you know, watching a movie and you're inspired to listen to the music or go look at the arts or go read other books, or, you know, spend on Wikipedia, just like you keep clicking the links and you're just in this black hole of Wikipedia, and then you're, you know, 4 hours later and you're like, how did I get to this page? So anyway, I would recommend watching it. The movie, I don't know. So the book, I did say, like, me personally, I would have felt comfortable reading this at like 10 or 11. I don't know if I would have felt comfortable watching that movie at 10 or 11 because, like I said, there is a lot. It's hard. It's harsh. And the rape reference is a bit more in your face. I hope you enjoyed this video and it inspires you to read maybe this book, or at least watch the movie, or even look up this artist. I think it's Gjan or Gjan. I'll put it on I'll link it down below and I'll put the name on the screen. And if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment or subscribe and follow me on the socials, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye.